So, if you remember, we had completed the fourth chapter titled Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. So this was the title of the fourth chapter, which we completed in the last class. And if you remember, this chapter had 42 verses, and we can broadly classify these 42 into three sections. The first topic that Krishna discussed was about avatara. So the first 15 verses dealt with the topic of avatara. Then from 16 to 24, it dealt with the main topic, Jnana Karma Sannyasa, which is the central topic of this chapter. And then the third section from 25 to 42, it dealt with Jnana Sadhana, different type of yajnas, mainly to prepare the mind to receive the knowledge, and the importance of Jnana Yajna and the benefits of gaining knowledge. So these were the three topics which were covered in the fourth chapter by Lord Krishna. So we will just briefly summarize whatever we have learnt in this chapter before we move on to the fifth chapter. So the first 15 verses, like I said, dealt with the avatara concept, and this is the only chapter in which Krishna talks about avatara. In no other chapter of Bhagavad Gita there is any mention about avatara. So avatara, there are three things we should know about avatara. One is the difference between, basically we should know three things which are different from normal jiva like us and an avatara. So first is the cause, the second is the nature, and third is the purpose. So this is how avatara is different from a normal jiva. What is the cause for a jiva to be born? Jiva is born to exhaust their karmas. So we all take birth depending on our karma, and whatever karma is fructified, based on that we are born in this life, and we exhaust all the karmas that have fructified at this moment. But in the process we may add more karmas, and we still have another load of karmas already there which we have accumulated. So the purposes of a human birth is to exhaust the karmas, and if you understand how to get out of this cycle through jnanam, then you can gain jnanam and gain mukti from further births. Now Ishvara is all-knowing. He doesn't take birth out of ignorance. So he comes out of compassion, because when he feels people need some help, in the sense people are so much in so much of grief and problems that they need to be uplifted. So that is why the avatara descends. He comes down to Manusha Loka to uplift Manusha Loka. It is like somebody has fallen into the well, and another person gets down in the well to lift that person up from the well. So this is the role that Ishvara plays when he comes as an avatara, because humanity is having a lot of problems, And Ishvara feels it is out of compassion, he should relieve people from these problems. So he descends, he also gets down to our this thing to uplift humanity. So that is the cause. What is the nature? How is the Ishvara physically different from Jiva or any other human being? Now, as you know, we have seen in Tattva Bodha also, the body of the Jiva is made from the 5 elements which undergo various modifications to get the physical form that you get. So through the process of grossification which we have seen, the 5 elements don't directly become the Jiva. They go through a process of modification called grossification, and then the Jiva gets a body based on that. So, but Ishvara, it's pure Maya. It doesn't have to go through any grossification process, because it can happen instantly. The Ishvara can appear instantly. In the case of Rama and Krishna, they went through seemingly like a normal human birth. But Ishvara can take somebody like a Narasimha Avatara, where he just manifested immediately. So directly from Maya, his body is generated. So he can directly appear in physical form without going through the process. So that is the second. And what is the third one? The purpose. The purpose, as we know, the Jiva is born to exhaust the karmas. Now, why does Ishvara, what is the purpose of Ishvara? So as you know, there is a worldly order. Everything functions by a worldly order. There is a sequence to everything. The seasons happen in a sequence. Everything happens. Nothing goes without any reason beyond this normal process. But because of human greed or human ignorance or ego, we tend to go against these natural laws which destabilize the entire creation. So at some point, if Ishvara feels that it is time to set the imbalance right, because when everything is order, we call it as dharma. So if adharma is increasing and this natural balance is getting affected, so it is a Ishvara's choice, because how much of imbalance is accepted, we don't know. When he should appear, we don't know. He appears when he feels that the natural laws are affected very badly, because he has given enough things to maintain this balance. The simple thing is common sense. If everybody follows the common sense, things will not go out of order. But the problem comes when some people think they have power to tamper with everything. So the common sense goes missing. And also, because of and he is also, in case you are not aware of the rules, he is also set the rules in the Vedas, how to live, what kind of procedures to be followed, everything is listed. So you have a man, he is also provided a manual. So if your common sense is not working, you can consult the manual, which are the Vedas. So wherever what is dharma and adharma is clearly given in the Vedas. So you don't have to guess what to do next, or you don't have to look for the solution. It's already provided. So if you are in doubt, you can always consult the Vedas. So Ishvara has given everything, but unfortunately human ego is so powerful sometimes. Some people think they can rule the world, and they are higher than God. So in such cases, when that becomes extreme, so the Lord descends in the form of an avatara, and he can take action in two ways. One is by directly destroying the adharma by destroying the person who is causing adharma. For example, like Hiranyakashipu or Ravana or Duryodhana. So by destroying the people who are doing adharma, you restore the balance. And the second method is also through educating the people about dharma and adharma once again, making them aware of their responsibilities. Like in this case, Krishna has come down to give us the teaching in the form of Bhagavad Gita. So it's a mix of both. You also get rid of the adharmis, because in this, whether in Ramavatara he killed not only Ravana, before that there were so many other Rakshasas who had created havoc. So all of them had to be destroyed to restore the balance and bring back the normalcy. So sometimes you have to destroy, like the doctor sometimes has to operate to remove an organ which is having issues, and he also can give medicine over a period of time to solve the problem. So both are done by the avatars. So they also destroy extreme people who create adharma, and at the same time educate. For example, Rama's life itself was an education. On one hand, he destroyed many of the people doing adharma, and by living a life which is the ideal life, his life itself was an education. That's why it's called Maryada Purushottam, because he was the ideal person. So if you follow Rama's way of living, definitely you will be moving towards the ultimate goal. In the case of Krishna, it is not possible, or one should not attempt to live like Krishna, because he did a lot of things which may seem adharmic. He used to steal butter when he was young, and he used to also move around with the gopis, and then he did a lot of things which may seem a little not acceptable to or if because Krishna stole butter, we cannot go to the next house and steal butter because I am like Krishna. So we should not follow Krishna's methods, but we should follow only his teaching. So live like Rama, but listen to Krishna's teaching. So both are meant to improve us. So the avatara's role is to come down to lessen the pain, bring back balance in the natural law. So this is what is covered in the first 15 verses of the 4th chapter, the concept of avatara, and what is the purpose. Like I said, the 3 main differences between avatara and a jiva. So this is what Krishna talked about in the first 15 verses. Now from verse number 16 to 24, Krishna talked about like karma, jnana karma sannyasa. So there are 2 types of sannyasa basically. One is completely renounce everything. You renounce your family, you renounce all your belongings, and then you take up a life of a renunciate. You wear a ochre cloth. You dedicate your entire life only for teaching, learning and teaching. But you need to be mentally mature to take up that kind of sannyasa, because it can become dangerous, because there is nothing to fall back upon. You should be prepared for anything. So at least if you are very clear about why you are taking sannyasa and the reasons are very strong, you can take up, but it is not easy. So whoever thinks of taking up sannyasa, it should be done out of understanding, not out of frustration. Because many people, they are frustrated with so many things in life. They feel they can escape all those things by taking sannyasa, but ultimately they land themselves in problem because they are not mentally prepared for sannyasa. They, in the heat of the moment, due to some other problems, they feel they can get away, but it's not going to. It can become more miserable than what they were before taking up sannyasa. The second form of sannyasa is to take internal sannyasa through understanding. So once you gain knowledge, you continue to do action, but with the knowledge that you are not the doer. So when you take up sannyasa internally, you are not affected if something, like you don't have to worry about your day-to-day things. For a sannyasi, he has to ensure that he needs basic things like food and shelter, everything, and he has to depend on somebody. If you are a grahastha, your needs can be taken care of, but if you are thinking, it's only a change of mindset. So instead of working with a mind which says that I am doing this, I am doing that, through knowledge you gain, through the right knowledge you understand that you are not the doer. So whatever you are doing, you do it with a different attitude. So you do because something is to be done, but with the knowledge that you are not the one who is doing the action. That is what Krishna was telling Arjuna also to do. Continue to fight. So with the knowledge of whatever with the knowledge he gained from Bhagavad Gita discourse by Krishna, he could fight the war because he knew that he was not the doer. So for that you need knowledge. So knowledge is the one which can take you to that ultimate goal. So for that, you can continue to live in the same ashrama that you do now. But if you do it with the understanding and all your actions are completely, you surrender the fruits of your actions, because when you know you are not the doer, you are not worried about the karma phala. So you continue to do your actions without bothering about the fruits. They will come. Whatever action, they will definitely produce result, but you are not swayed by the result. Whatever comes as a result, you accept that as prasada. So when you do with that attitude, you are not bound by the actions. You don't attract any karma, papa or punya. So this is the second. So either you can take up full sannyasa, or you can continue in your householder life with the change in attitude. So these are the two possible sannyasas. There is another type of sannyasa called Vividha sannyasa, where though you are a householder, you stay separately, you continue to dedicate, you are involved to the minimum extent in the day-to-day things, but you are like, you stay in the house and you go to the house for your food and other things, and detach yourself from the other activities. Your family may continue to do their activities, you stay aloof from all that, you pursue your knowledge, but your basic needs, food, shelter, are taken care. So that is another way of pursuing sannyasa. So these are the main two types of sannyasa which Krishna talks about from verse number 16 to 24. And among this, the 24th verse, which we all know. So normally if you go to an ashram, before food they chant this: Brahmarpanam Brahma Havihi Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmaivatena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. So this is the important verse in this chapter, which is very popular. Normally people associate it with food, probably because it is chanted before food, because after chanting you get food. So let us chant this so that I can get food. So if that is not the attitude, that is just for a purpose they chant this before the food. But what it means is, everything that you see is Brahman. The means of offering is Brahman. What you're offering is Brahman. Whose offering is Brahman. Into the fire, which is Brahman. And the one who sees everything as Brahman ultimately reaches Brahman. So the knowledge is nothing but there is no difference between you and everything else around you. So that is what is the ultimate knowledge. So once you reach that knowledge, you have attained the goal. Once your mind is filled with that knowledge, then you have gained whatever is to be gained. So when you see everything as Brahman, you become one with Brahman. And that comes only through knowledge. Now, having said all this, how to attain this knowledge, what are the means, that also from verse number 25 to 42. So, Krishna talks about different types of yajnas. So he had mentioned, starting with Jnana Yajna, which is the most powerful yajna, or which is the only yajna which can give you direct moksha. He talks about various other yajnas which will help you to purify your mind so that you are ready for Jnana Yajna. So he talks about Daiva Yajna, then Dravya Yajna, Tapa Yajna, Yoga Yajna, Swadhyaya, then Ahara, Pranayama. So various types of yajnas. Either one can practice all of them, or there are many more yajnas in the. He says there's only a small sample of the yajnas that you can do. You can find many more such yajnas in the Vedas, but nothing is superior to Jnana Yajna, because all these, either one or you can practice many, they will all help you to prepare your mind for Jnana Yajna. But only Jnana Yajna is going to give you moksha. So Krishna talks about different types of yajnas to gain knowledge, and how to gain this knowledge, that also is mentioned. So you have to approach a guru, a traditional guru, and study for a length of time, because only through knowledge you can remove ignorance. And what are the qualities that one requires? We have already discussed earlier also. So first is Shraddha. So without Shraddha, loosely translated as faith in English, but Shraddha means you go with an approach to learn, and you are at liberty to ask questions. It is not blind faith where somebody says, okay, because all the other religions are based on blind faith, you cannot ask questions. But here when we say Shraddha, you have faith in the scriptures or the Shastras and the Guru. So you approach them, and wherever you have any doubts, you can clarify those doubts. Because if you don't understand, doesn't mean that Vedas are wrong or the Guru is wrong. It means your understanding is not good enough at this moment. So you are at liberty to keep on asking questions till you have no more doubts left. So that is what is Shraddha. So when you approach a Guru with Shraddha, the one who follows the Vedic way of teaching, such a Guru who follows a lineage, that's why we say Sadashiva Samarambham, started from Lord Shiva, Shankaracharya Madhyamam, somewhere in that lineage Shankaracharya came, and then Asmadacharya, the present Guru. So the Guru should have a lineage, because only such a Guru will be able to impart the right kind of knowledge. We cannot say that others don't know or anything, but it is better to follow a traditional Guru, because when you follow a tradition, you will not go wrong. So getting the knowledge through the right kind of teacher, who follows the traditional teaching. So that is how you gain that teaching. And to prepare the mind, you follow some or many yajnas so that your mind is ready. So when these two go together, ultimately you will gain jnanam, which has got 4 benefits. Your delusion is completely destroyed. Once you gain jnanam, all your doubts are completely removed. Your delusion is completely destroyed. The second one is it destroys all your papas. So all the papams that you have accumulated, they get instantly removed through knowledge. Not only that, it destroys all the karma also. All the karmas that we have, which includes the punyams also, because even if you destroy all your papas, your punyam will ensure that you again take birth. And again you come and exhaust your punyam. In the process you may accumulate more punyam and papam also. So again the cycle continues. So through jnanam you destroy not only papams, you also destroy the punyam also. So all karmas are removed. And the fourth benefit is you realize the oneness of Ishvara and Jiva. So you see everything as Brahman, which ensures that you don't get back into the cycle of birth and death. So this is the benefit of jnana. So in this chapter, Krishna, again, the entire essence of teaching is there in every chapter. So it is not that you need to study all the 18 chapters. If you have understood, each chapter by itself is complete. So here itself, but we all will have doubts, even if we have understood some, we will still have more doubts, like Arjuna is also going to have more doubts. So naturally we are not as well versed in many things like Arjuna. So definitely we will have more doubts, that is why Bhagavad Gita continues after the 4th chapter also. So Krishna will continue the teaching based on the doubts raised by Arjuna, which will continue from the 5th chapter onwards. So we will start the 5th chapter from the next class. So with this, the 4th chapter is concluded, and this summary was just to have a quick recap of what we studied in the 4th chapter. So more we will see from the next class.